Hello, my name is Chido Govera. I'm from Zimbabwe, and today I want to give you a little gift, a word from Zimbabwe. It's a Shona word, and the first one is my name. My name Chido means passion. My name Chido means passion. And I was thinking, how do I tell about my work in the easiest way possible in 8 minutes? It's my first time to have to say so much in 8 minutes, so I thought, let's talk about passion, because placemaking is actually something that's carried out by passionate people, people who have something that they're passionate about. So, what is my passion? Mushrooms. I do work with mushrooms, but I'm not sure if that's my passion. Let's try to clarify that. This is a wooden giant. It's called the Golem. It's by a Belgian artist. His name is Koen van Mechelen. I recently met him, and this giant really speaks my passion. I can't go through everything in 8 minutes, but the thing is, it's a big giant that's becoming an international symbol for children. It's a giant of hope. And what you notice is that it has an open head and it has a closed mouth. The open head is really for encouraging creative thinking. And of course, the closed mouth is that it's time that we're not always saying things, but without really absorbing them. And for me, what that means is really a time to ask the community to speak to the giants that are in charge of things. This is just some of the things that are important that are spoken by that. So my passion, I learned to know about it when I was 8 years old. That my passion is really to empower African children, especially orphans, to cease from being victims of circumstances. This is something that has been promoted for a long time, not just by the communities in which these orphans are growing, but also we're talking about people who graduate from university and then they go to Africa or to whatever where they're disadvantaged people. They go to help them, they go to save them. And what that has done for a long time, it was really a bit like tying the hands of the African children or of any poor population that they feel like they're victims. They can't do anything. They can't help their situation. They just sit there and do nothing. And it is something that I decided when I was 8 years old, because I grew up as an orphan, and I said when I'm older, I'm going to teach other young orphans to stand up for what they believe in. Not just stand up and do nothing, but find something to do. And this is better done by finding the right connections. And then, this leads us to the question, then why mushrooms? So for me, mushrooms was a tool that I used to start my journey. A dream from when I was 8, I was in a community where my immediate family were the people who were giving me a hard time. I didn't have anyone to tend to. And so from such an early age, it became more important for me to actually build community around orphan children where they can stand as a resource for the communities where they are. So this is me. That one, that's me when I was 12 years old. I learned to grow mushrooms at 11 years old. I was out of school at 9. And then at 12, I was at a university learning everything about tissue culture, how to make the mushroom seed and all these things. And I was able to sell mushrooms since the age of 11 to buy myself food and to also send other orphans to school. And when I did that for the first time when I was 11, I said, this is what I want to do. So I started my journey with mushrooms, reaching out to orphan children in Zimbabwe. And what was so catchy about mushrooms was that you're growing them on waste material. Now we know that all the struggling people in Africa, the one thing that they have in abundance is waste material. So for me, it was a big opportunity to know that using waste, you can create food, but not only that, you also you save the children from abuse because when you can provide for your own food, even the people from the family, but also from the community, they look at you in a different way, like, wait a minute, they can provide for their own food. That earns you a bit of respect. So, what struck me was that it was such a diversity of people that came together through the working with mushrooms. But then what I later realized was that it's not only mushrooms for food, but it's also mushrooms for other things, and we'll get onto that. The adaptivity of something that's so scientific that I could start doing at the age of 11 was also something that was really striking for me. And of course, the resilience, and this we'll see in the next slides. So, these are different kinds of mushrooms you can grow. And what we see here are the edible mushrooms, and when you come here, it's the medicinal mushrooms. But then, here is an interesting story, which we'll just look at in a little bit. So, I talked already about the material you need to grow mushrooms on. So this is the flexibility that you can take it to different environments. So this was in India, where women who didn't even know how to write their names, they said, growing mushrooms is much easier than tending to a veggie garden. I was thinking, hello? And this is also something very special, bringing groups of people that don't normally work together. And this is something that's very present in Africa and in other parts of the world. Men and women are not coming together. And my passion is to really try and get people to come together in a way that they're not victims of the other, but they're also not victims of a situation. So getting men and women to work together was one of the really interesting things for me. There's a women from coffee farms in Zimbabwe. We used to produce very good coffee, but we could not sell it. And in the coffee production process, what we end up drinking in our cup is actually 0.2% of what is actually produced. The rest is waste material. And those women you see in the picture that work on the coffee farm, they don't have enough food, but we're taking this waste and we're using it to produce mushrooms. Not only that, we're making a follow-up to say, okay, what we're doing, we took a container of coffee, we sold it to the United States actually, and then the coffee here created that, what is called the Chido's blend, and this is to support the women to work, because of course there are always issues of funding and all these things, but they need to be addressed. And this was also here saying, okay, we brought a container of coffee here, what's going to happen to the spent that's left? We're drinking coffee, and there's a lot of coffee grounds left at the end of the day, so we followed up, we took that. So we're inspiring urban entrepreneurship in cities. This is in San Francisco. And this is actually from, so we've done the same in Berlin, in Holland, in Paris, and in Denmark, taking coffee grounds from the cafe and growing mushrooms out of it. And we're doing all of this learning from nurture. We're satisfying the basic needs of all with the children's approval. So, placemaking is really about people and giving people the ownership to whatever it is that they learn or whatever it is that they believe in, so they're not victims, and in that way they can better maintain the place when it's built. Thank you.